Hey everybody, Brad and Terry here. We want to welcome you to another episode of
What
What
now?
Now?
This is where we come together and we talk about the message from the previous week and just kind of talk over okay, there's the message, there's the information. Now, what do we do with it?
Yeah, this last week the title of the message was My Rights, an Obstacle, and we're looking at First Corinthians chapter 9. And if you didn't get a chance to listen to it, you can go onto our website and find either the video or the podcast so you can take an opportunity to listen to that. In the midst of chapter 9, Paul's talking about his rights. And one of the things he talks about pertaining to a right that he had is that he was not going to make use of that right if making use of that right meant that it would hinder the gospel. He was willing to endure anything to make sure that he didn't put an obstacle in the way of presenting the gospel.
Yeah, and I really liked your different examples how David used his rights in a good way and a bad way,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Yep.
just it's very real. I also thought, and whenever you bring up Barna research, it makes me a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know
Right.
about the rest of you, but drives me a little crazy. But from my notes, the Barna research that you talked about was why 18 to 29-year-olds are leaving or not even coming to church. And one is that church is overprotective. Two, church is not relevant. Three, church is antagonistic towards science. Four, church is judgmental. And then church is not safe. And the thing that hit me is that not a whole lot has changed since Jesus walked the
Right.
earth. I mean, when I think, and it was really a Pharisaical attitude that really fits into all those different things, and each one of those are different examples, but it cracked me up. Church is judgmental. Well, I mean, the Pharisees were always judging
Just
people,
a tad
and it
bit.
was, yeah, their position was the most important thing. And then church not safe. The woman caught in adultery, not so safe.
Mm-hmm.
So then here's the big question:
Yeah.
what, or is there anything that we are called to or should be standing up for? Do we need to stand up for something?
Yeah, that's a great question. You come up with great questions
Thank you.
every time.
That's why I go.
And there's that's why she's a part of this show. Anyways, yeah, definitely. There's things we're to stand up for, and so it's important for us to do that. And one of the things that comes to mind as I think of that is just Paul's words for us in Ephesians, where he says to stand against the devil's schemes, or stand firm then as you face this spiritual battle. And I think it's interesting that what we are to stand against is the devil's schemes. We're supposed to stand for truth, yes, and that truth is the gospel of Jesus Christ. But we're supposed to stand against the devil's schemes. And I think that there's something that we can take to heart there in just remembering that our battle's not against
Yeah.
flesh and blood. It's not against the people. It's against the evil one. It's against his schemes, and that's something I think we need to remember as we continue to talk through this kind of stuff. So,
Yeah. What I really like about that is it gives a barometer. There's a measuring stick there. I mean, because it's like, oh my gosh, we need to come up with our list of the things that are non-negotiables.
yeah,
And what it comes down to is just realizing we are in a spiritual battle all the way around.
yep,
And so then it becomes more a matter of the heart, not the right and the wrong and who's right, who's wrong, and pointing that out. It's a matter of the heart. And for me, a really great example that comes to mind that is a huge hot button, which needs to be, is abortion.
yeah,
Because we automatically go, oh, that's so wrong.
yep,
Why is it wrong? Yes, it's taking the life of a child. However, when we're talking to a woman who has made that choice to have an abortion, And I've had these opportunities, and I'm thankful for them because instead of telling them why they were so wrong and da 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 da, it's a question of saying, you know what? There are two victims in an abortion situation.
Yeah.
And one is the child and one is the mom.
Right.
And just acknowledging that, that's when I've seen the tears flow.
Yeah.
Because everybody's so busy telling her why she's wrong. And I've had the opportunity to say, I'm so sorry that you went through that. And just acknowledging that we have an enemy and he wants to twist everything he can.
Right.
And when everything is said and done, I mean, we've all experienced it where something seemed right at the time. And then you go, oh my gosh, that wasn't okay.
Right.
But speaking with love gives an opportunity to discover that.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, sometimes they're going to know they're wrong, but sometimes...
Well, and that was one of the things, that I was thinking of is that so many times when they're in the midst of things, and like I was saying, I've done, where they know enough that it's wrong. They don't need to be told more.
Yeah. Yeah, and then on the flip side, there's a bunch of people that don't know they're wrong. Okay. And they don't think it's wrong. And if there are people who are outside of the church, that they are not followers of Jesus, they're not going to think it's wrong. And
it's true.
The saying it's wrong more and saying it louder and more often is not going to change it, because again, it's a spiritual battle. And as we know, you can't legislate people to be good. That goodness comes from a change of heart. And how our hearts changed, how are they transformed? By Jesus. And I think that's why Paul is so much about whether it's your rights or your freedoms, whatever it may be, the main thing is proclaiming the good news of Jesus Christ, because we want people to become followers of Jesus. Then let the Spirit do the transformation.
Yeah, no, I like that. And something that you've said over and over and over again, which I've really, really appreciated, is the communicating part and the asking more questions rather than telling. You can discover so much more when you ask questions. I know that if somebody's just telling me how I've done this, it becomes wah, 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 wah. And I shut them off. Even if they've said something good, probably missed it.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going, I don't need it.
Yeah.
I don't need that. But when someone is communicating and asking questions and really cares what my answers are, it's an opportunity for talking.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and let's just acknowledge right up front that none of this is easy.
Oh my God.
Because there is definitely some more gray areas, and so we really need God's Spirit just to guide us and direct us in this. Yeah. And we also want you to know that next Sunday we're going to continue this conversation, because Paul continues on in chapter 9 as we look at the second half of chapter 9, and he says, that he's going to become all things to all men, that he might win some. And so what in the world does that mean? So we want to invite you to either join us via live stream at 10:30 this next Sunday, or you can come to our building and join us there. So again, thanks for joining us, and we're going to say hasta la vista.
And chances are really good we're going to have some more really good, hard questions next time we get together on another episode of
What Now? Welcome, everybody. This is Brad and Terry, and we are excited that you're joining us for another episode of...
Let's do that again. Uppa. Episode.
Episode?
Episode. Sorry. Okay.
Hey everybody, this is Brad and Terry, and we are so glad that